When you look at the situation as a whole, here is exactly what went down after another blowout loss for the Chicago Sky. This was Ariel Atkins speaking on behalf of Angel Reese. Of course, they traded for Atkins in the offseason.
And the amount of crap that she gets on a day-to-day, and she still shows up. So whatever questions y'all got about our team, basketball-wise, we appreciate it, but all the other nonsense, it's irrelevant. We here to play basketball and do what we do. We having a hard time right now at the end of the day. Just a 23-year-old kid who handles herself with grace. Her crown is heavy.
The basketball community is discussing after Stephen A. Smith's recent reality check.
Angel Reese, right? Yeah. They're going back and forth. And Jamil Hill says by the time Angel Reese is done, she's going to be the Michael Jordan of WNBA.
She said about Angel Reese?
She said Angel Reese, by the time she retires, can you pull up this quote? She said, by the time she retires, she will be the MJ of, go to Jamil Hill, type in Jamil Hill, yeah. She says, by the time she retires, Jamil Hill has made a bold prediction that Angel Reese will become the
host of First Take didn't mince words following Angel Reese's most recent performance against the Liberty. 4 points, a 27-point defeat, and no justifications while Caitlin Clark was sidelined and the spotlight was at its highest. While the legacy of the other player only became stronger, the other player fell apart.
Prices, insane. Let me read you the ticket prices. After Caitlin Clark's been hurt for 2 weeks, all right? So let's go through this. Caitlin Clark absence is having an immediate impact beyond the court. According to data shared by Yahoo Sports via TickPick, prices for 2 specific Indiana Fever away games against the Chicago Sky and the Washington Mystics dropped sharply after Clark was sidelined. Before the injury, the lowest ticket available for Fever's matchup in Chicago was $86. For the game in Washington, fans needed at least $41 to get in. After the news of Clark's absence, those get-in prices fell to $25 from $86 and $14 from $41. What the hell is going on with WNBA that they cannot handle all this attention that they're getting, as well as...
Was this the wake-up call Angel Reese needed? Or do you believe Stephen A. went too far?
To be honest, and this was a rough game from the Chicago Sky, and I understand a lot of people be like, you know what, they were in the game at halftime. They were up 1, and Atlanta got nuclear hot, but that's the most favorable way you can look at it. Atlanta were 2 of 18 from 3 at one stage.
Allow me to introduce you to the scenario. With flawless hair and nails, Angel Reese enters this Liberty clash with all the confidence in the world. Her attire is so well-coordinated that it looks like she's going to Milan Fashion Week rather than Madison Square Garden. Caitlin Clark, meanwhile, is perhaps drinking a Gatorade while sitting on the bench with ice wrapped around her ankle, wondering how someone can devote more time to their pre-game workout than to their actual game preparation.
You saw it.
I couldn't tell what happened. What was it looked...
We ran into each other.
Possibly you even stepped on her foot. It was as incidental as that.
Let me go look at it. Okay. Great. Next.
Second from the right. John over here from She Got Game. For you, Angel, tonight you were extremely efficient, played with a lot of poise and confidence tonight. For for all the scrutiny you do receive online and stuff like that nature, what kind of messages a game like this send to them, as well as just the kind of momentum that this could build for you throughout the season?
Yeah, obviously don't worry about what's going on online. I get so much love in person. I haven't ever had a negative encounter in person ever. And I've been going through this for 3 years. I've never had an encounter in person that was negative. So people online are behind the keyboard for a reason, and I don't worry about that stuff. I trust my work. My teammates trust me. And I was telling Miller today, she felt like she was having a rough day, and I was like, how many times have I had a rough day? And you picked me up. So don't get down on yourself. I know my teammates have my back, my coaches have my back, and that's all that really matters. I don't have to prove anything to anybody but myself and my teammates.
For points, it's not a typo, a statistical error, that is. In a game where she was meant to be the protagonist, that is all of Angel Reese's offensive output. When Stephen A. Smith saw that box score, he most likely had to wipe his eyes twice before he could accept what he was seeing. It was more than just a poor game. This was a masterclass on how to blend in as the lights come on.
This is going to blow up and is worth addressing. Angel Reese had her best game of the season against the New York Liberty. It wasn't even close. Clearly her best game of the season. She's really struggled finishing this year. She looked a lot more aggressive, taking the ball up. She took shots from the outside that I think she needs to do. She needs to pull up, make the defense honest. She looked like she was playing with a ton of effort, and the Sky's still lost. They still got blown out, and the Sky issues go well beyond Angel Reese's field goal percentage. Obviously, Courtney Vandersloot out for the season. That's a blow, but they weren't even good before then. Their draft pick goes to the Minnesota Lynx. There is a lot.
Do you want to know what's worse than this? The Liberty surged ahead 10-0 right away, and if they truly wanted to humiliate Chicago, they could have won by 50. This was not a game of basketball. Disguised as a WNBA game, this was a public execution. And even though everyone thought Angel would take over for Clark, she gave us a performance that was so bad it even included an apology letter. Angel's performance was not the only thing that Stephen A. criticized. Without anesthesia, he operates on her entire basketball persona. With a finality that ends careers and begins therapy sessions, he declared, "She's not Caitlin Clark as a player. Caitlin Clark is a unique individual. It was more than just analysis. It was like a goods train, delivered with the subtlety of a public service message." This is where things get very hot, though. Angel has been behaving like she's the next big thing in basketball, strutting about with such confidence and comparing herself to basketball greats. Her shooting percentage from 5 feet and up, however, is so poor that it needs to be marked with a caution. She's shooting 19 out of 59 from point-blank range, according to Stephen A. That goes beyond simply striving. That is a deliberate violation of basketball physics. The rebounds argument is also becoming stale. She did, in fact, grab 12 boards against the Liberty. Well done. While your team lost by 27 points, you took home participation awards. It's similar to failing every class and taking pride in your attendance record. Unproductive rebounding is only busy work masquerading as basketball impact. Let's also discuss that stupid comparison to Michael Jordan that was made. After hearing that, Stephen A. most likely began praying for the soul of basketball as a whole. While suffering from the sick, Michael Jordan would have scored all of Angel's points in a single quarter. The very fact that those names are mentioned together is enough to make basketball purists cry aloud. This is the actual outcome of that Liberty game. Angel's setup was ideal. Her thunder will not be stolen by Caitlin Clark. Prime time, a national televised audience, and every chance to demonstrate that she is on par with the league's best players. Rather, she gave us an unmemorable performance that is causing highlight reels to file for restraining orders. The coaching staff made every effort. In the hopes that a change of setting would reveal some secret scoring talent, they shifted her around like furniture in a haunted house. Center, small ball 5, power forward. Nothing was successful. By the fourth quarter, Tyler Marsh was most likely writing plays in hieroglyphics, frantically looking for any combination that would lead to an Angel shot. The athlete who actually suited up is less crucial to the game's plot than Caitlin Clark, who is sitting on the bench dressed in streetwear. You'll know you've lost the story entirely at that point. You're not in a slump when your wounded star creates more excitement than your healthy star. You're experiencing a crisis of existence. The entire story is revealed by the fan responses. Social media was cruel. Disappointed spectators who turned in anticipating fireworks but get a wet mat chick instead made 4 points their rallying cry once more. It was difficult for even Angel's most ardent admirers to find the bright side. She became the basketball equivalent of having a wonderful personality and made additional contributions. But Stephen A. was far from done. He plunged into the background of history. That adds to the embarrassment of the whole affair. That moment of taunting Caitlin Clark during the LSU championship served as the foundation for Angel's entire WNBA brand. She became a professional basketball sensation as a result of that widely shared altercation. Here's the issue, though. One college experience is not enough to launch a profession. At some point, you will need to play basketball professionally. It's a delightful irony. Angel gained notoriety for confronting Clark while he was a college student. And now, without even trying, Clark's unabashed basketball prowess is getting in her face. To match their confidence, one player improved their performance. While putting up numbers that wouldn't impress a JV coach, the other is still riding the wave of a college memory that dates back 3 years. Let's look at the efficiency figures that make Stephen A. and everyone else wonder what Angel's true contributions are. She has only made 21 field goals and has been blocked 20 times. It's more than just poor shooting. Performance art about futility is what that is. Basketball is becoming an interpretative dance about disappointment because of her. Since they joined the league as the main rivalry of this generation, the comparison to Caitlin Clark becomes inevitable. The possibilities in professional basketball are being redefined by one guy, though, whereas the other is changing the definition of what constitutes a contribution. Historic are Clark's triple-double numbers. For all the wrong reasons, Angel's shooting percentages are unprecedented. Stephen A. wasn't kidding when he said that Clark could pull up from any place, just like Steph Curry. We have witnessed Clark make successful long-range shots that would cause NBA players to second-guess themselves. Angel is having trouble making layups, which should come naturally to anyone who has ever touched a basketball. There is more to the skill gap than meets the eye. It's getting embarrassing. An even harsher picture is painted by the WNBA's viewership figures. Despite having several all-star players and athletes wearing signature shoes, that Liberty Sky game only attracted little more than 600,000 viewers on ESPN. For comparison, on smaller networks, Fever Game still draws more viewers even without Caitlin Clark. Rivalries and personalities form the foundation of the league's whole marketing strategy. What occurs, though, if half of the rivalry is unable to perform? At this point, Angel's pregame attire has turned into a meme. Stephen A. questioned out loud if she genuinely spends more time practicing the foundations of basketball than organizing her wardrobe. You're not an athlete when your pregame runway walk produces more content worthy of being highlighted than your on-field performance. You own basketball sneakers and are an influencer. It must be getting to the point where the coaching staff is quite frustrated. Consider designing a game around a player that routinely performs poorly at pivotal times. Each timeout becomes a form of intervention. Every replacement turns into a killing of kindness. Because he has used Angel's benching speech so much, Tyler Marsh most likely knows it by heart by this time. This is why Stephen A.'s criticism works so well. He's not making personal attacks on Angel. He's making her meet the expectations she set for herself. She referred to herself as a star. She presented herself as being on par with Clark. She actively sought out the competition and the contrast. She must now deal with the consequences when those comparisons make her appear unremarkable. It is impossible to overlook the psychological component. Angel's success in college and viral moments gave him a great deal of confidence when he joined the league. But players who aren't prepared for the level of competitiveness are often humbled by professional basketball. With each missed shot, confidence grows. Murderer. Each subpar performance strengthens the criticism. The mental challenge becomes as difficult as the physical ones. Angel should have had a chance to flourish during Clark's injury absence. Rather, it emphasized how much one player determines the enthusiasm of the league. Viewership decreases as Clark sits. Engagement on social media falls off when Clark isn't playing. Although it's not necessarily Angel's fault, it does highlight how little of an influence she truly has on the league's allure. This is also when the salary cap discussions come into play. Although WNBA players are advocating for improved pay and working conditions, their negotiating position isn't exactly strengthened by performances like Angel's 4-point disappearance act. Owners are observing these games and questioning why they should spend more money on players who are unable to provide entertainment value on a regular basis. When Stephen A. brought up Angel's leadership abilities, he touched on an important point. What has she really accomplished to help the team succeed, beyond the numbers? Experienced leadership, game-changing defensive energy, and clutch performances. Rebounds and social media posts appear to be the solution, but they aren't exactly a formula for winning a championship. The timescale for development is also worrisome. Between their first and second professional seasons, the majority of players exhibit notable progress. Angel's confidence is inexplicably unaffected, although she seems to be regressing in other important areas. Careers can be derailed by the risky discrepancy that exists between one's perception of oneself and one's actual performance. When considering the WNBA as a whole, Angel's difficulties point to a more significant issue with player development and reasonable expectations. The league is in need of players who can perform well under duress. Every well-known performer who falls short damages the final product and hinders the ability to draw in new followers who could turn into devoted ones. Because of that college championship moment, they are inextricably linked, making the comparison to Clark inevitable. However, Angel is happy to rest on the memories, whereas Clark used that event as inspiration to do greater things. One player used criticism as motivation to get better. Early triumph was transformed into comfortable complacency by the other. Since it's most likely accurate, Stephen A's last point, that Angel isn't prepared for the professional level, hits hardest. Professional success is not always a direct result of college accomplishment. Compared to college basketball, the WNBA is faster, more physical, and far less forgiving. Regardless of their social media following or sense of style, players who are unable to adjust are left behind. It is also impossible to ignore the fan investment factor. Because they think they are witnessing elite basketball, people are spending money on tickets, merchandise, and streaming services. The tacit agreement between the athlete and the spectator is broken when athletes perform poorly on a regular basis. Fans feel betrayed, and for good reason. Angel's close-range shooting difficulties are not solely mechanical in nature. They point to underlying issues with concentration, readiness, or innate talent. The shots made by professional basketball players are expected to be comparable to those made by amateurs. Everything else becomes secondary when that fundamental expectation isn't fulfilled. It has been interesting to observe the development of the media narrative about Angel. Every critique she received early in her career elicited defensive responses and charges of unjust treatment. Even those who support her are now at a loss for reasons. 4 points in an important game is unacceptable at any level, according to reality, which has a way of cutting through enthusiasm. The way that mainstream sports media views Angel Reese has changed significantly as a result of Stephen A. Smith's critique. Officially, the honeymoon is ended. There is no more room for the benefit of the doubt. She will be evaluated only on her performance going forward, which is a frightening scenario for her career trajectory given the latest data. No one else had the courage to speak the truth, but Stephen A. did. In addition to being disappointed, Angel Reese's 4-point performance served as a wake-up call for everyone who continues to compare her to Caitlin Clark. How do you feel about the entire situation? Leave your comments below. If you believe Stephen A. was correct, hit the like button and subscribe for more unbiased basketball analysis.